Hey everyone, Social Solipsist here for another episode of 52 and 52, and this week I am taking a look at Shadow Complex Remastered. I have actually shot this video twice. This is the third take. The first take, somewhere very early on, Shadowplay decided to stop recording my mic, so all of that was mostly useless. The second time I ran out of disk space, and the recording did not warn me. That was with OBS, but that's no fault of OBS. That's me not emptying my drive correctly. And so this is the third go where I'm going to do a post video recording so that I can make sure that this records, I can visually see that it is recording, and I don't have to tear my hair out for a fourth time. So this is Shadow Complex Remastered. It is a game that I recall the initial trailers for and things like that quite a few years ago at this point. It was initially released, again, a number of years ago. It's a fairly old game, big air quotes there, in that it was, I think, early in the 7th gen of the console generation, so 360 and PS3 and all that. I think it was a downloadable title on both, and I believe it was also released on PC. I don't know really what the remaster was. It doesn't seem super significant, but anyway, it is there. This is a game I did not really expect to enjoy very much. I'm very, very picky with platformers, as should be evident for longtime viewers. I've mentioned before in things like my video on Ink that having your platformer mechanics not 100% solid can be very quickly the nail in the coffin for on a very small thing. And based on the way that the animations are and the visuals of this game, your initial thought might be to think that the jump and the platforming and things like that don't look super great, look a little bit weird, but in all honesty, they handle very, very well. I'm very pleased with how it was going. I've played 78 minutes of it, apparently, according to Steam that I'm looking at right now, with no problems at all. I expected to shoot a 15-minute video and dump it forever, and I was pleasantly surprised. That said, graphically, it's not the most impressive thing ever. I don't think they've upgraded the graphics very much since the initial release, if at all. The faces look pretty all right, all things considered, so they may have up-res those or some such thing. But besides that, it's graphically not super impressive. Likewise with the story, there's very minimal story thus far, but what is there is extremely heavily cliched and tropified and that sort of thing. So if that's what you're getting into this for, well, you were looking in the wrong place in the first place, so I don't know why you did this anyway. But it's not displeasing. It's cheesy just enough, and it doesn't take itself too seriously or overstay its welcome in terms of the cutscenes or anything like that. It knows what it is. What is pretty interesting, though, and does hold up over time, is the aspect of it being sort of a 2.5D system, because the game is part shooter. What they opted to do, and what was part of their PR push, was to have the game have a depth mechanic where you may have to interact or shoot at things that are not directly in the 2D plane of a typical platformer. So that sometimes means, like I said, you gotta shoot guys in the distance, or avoid things seeing you in the distance, because there is some sneaking mechanics and stuff like that. And it handles it surprisingly well. Not only does it work well, but it also looks quite good. Relative to something like Trine, for those of you who might have played that, where they try and sort of use visual things to trick you into it seeming, like it has more depth than it does. This is very clearly a 3D world that's being rendered in full, with a camera that only moves on 2 planes rather than 3, so that it's a very literal one-to-one visual understanding of the 3D space and the depth and the items in the room that you may have to jump over or something like that, relative to something like Trine, where it's either, if it's obstacles or something like that, it can sometimes be confusing, and with the backgrounds and things and the type of pseudo parallaxing that they try and do, just visually comes off as a little bit distracting and not quite right. But this game really handles all of that very well. I initially tried playing it with the mouse, or with the controller rather, because I had sort of assumed that would be the best way to play it. But it turns out that it's not. It does have a little bit of, or in theory, it has some auto aiming that's supposed to help you out, but in practice, I didn't find it very much. Honestly, I didn't find it to be existent most of the time, and so I was struggling with the joysticks to get precise shots off. By comparison, using the mouse and keyboard, I had no problems at all hitting what I wanted to hit. So input wise, I think mouse and keyboard is surprisingly the preferable option, although I did rebind a key. I think I can't remember at this point. I've shot this video so many times I don't even know. It does have some weird programming things where they've opted to have it. It runs in a full screen mode, or like a pseudo full screen mode that still has like the close, maximize, and minimize buttons, and if you pop in and out of it, it hiccups a little bit, like using Alt Tab. So that's a little bit odd, and I don't know if that's the engine or just the way it was. I honestly don't know why they've done it that way, but that's the way it is. But all in all, I've been having a pretty good time with it. I'm going to continue playing it for as long as it doesn't disappoint me. And thus far, it's known exactly what it is and done what it needed to do. And it does play a little bit to some of my Metroidvania tastes, just a little bit, just enough to make me happy. So yeah, I think that's all about all I have to say about it. I am gonna give it some more time. So this has been 52 and 52. This is the second to last episode of the year. Although there are 3 more weeks in the year, or 2 more after this. The last video will be next week. I'm shooting it in advance so that I can get on a plane and go visit family. There may or may not be a special episode or some additional bonus content or some such thing like that. We shall see. But thank you guys, for those of you who have watched all the way through, or maybe coming back to watch all the way through. Thank you guys for watching. And I will be continuing it in the future. Spoilers. There's a season 2. Spoilers. Yeah. So, I've been the Social Solipsist. This has been 52 and 52. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.